everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about sample size. How many people do you need to take a survey? Even if you are a statistician, calculating sample size can be tough. Do you want to know how to calculate your sample size? There are a lot of sample size calculators that make it easier for you. Here's everything you need to know about getting the right number of responses for your survey. You can calculate your sample size at surveymonkey.com using this link. For example, if you have a population of 500 and you choose a confidence level of 99% with a margin of error of 5%, by using the calculator, you will get a sample size of 286. What is sample size? Sample size is the number of completed responses your survey receives. It is called a sample because it is only represents part of the group of people whose opinions or behavior you really care about or you're trying to take the survey about. For example, one way of sampling is to use a random sample, where respondents are choosing entirely by chance from the population at a large. So here are three key terms you will need to understand to calculate your sample size and give it context. The population size. The population size is the total number of people in the group you are trying to study. If you are taking a random sample of people across the US, then your population size would be around 300 million people. Similarly, if you are surveying your company, the size of the population is the total number of employees. The margin of error. The margin of error is a percentage that tells you how much you can expect your survey results to reflect the views of the overall population. The smaller the margin of error, the closer you are to having the exact answer at a given confidence level. Sampling confidence level. The confidence level is a percentage that reveals how confident you can be that the population would select an answer with a certain range. For example, a 95% confidence level means that you can be 95% certain the result lies between X and Y numbers. So how can you calculate the sample size? If you are wondering how to calculate the sample size, and if you would like to calculate the sample size by hand, you can use this formula, where N is the population size, E is the margin of error, is a percentage in decimal form, and Z is a Z-score. The Z-score is the number of standard deviations a given proportion is away from the mean value. To find the right Z-score to use, you can refer to the table below. For example, an 85% confidence level corresponds to 1.44 Z-score, and a 99% confidence level can correspond to 2.58 Z-score. And you need to keep in mind, if you want a smaller margin of error, you must have a larger sample size given the same population. And the higher the sampling confidence level you want to have, the larger your sample size will need to be. Another question is, does having a statistically significant sample size really matter? Generally, the rules of thumb is that the larger the sample size, the more statistically significant it is, meaning there is less of chance that your results happen by coincidence. But you might be wondering whether or not statistically significant sample size really matters. The truth is, it's a case-by-case situation. Survey sampling can still give you valuable answers without having a sample size that represents the general population. Customer feedback is one of the surveys that does so, regardless of whether or not you have a statistically significant sample size. Listening to customer feedback will give you valuable perspective on how you can improve your business and your products. On the other hand, political pollsters have to be extremely careful about surveying the right sample size. They need to make sure it's balanced to reflect the overall population. Here are some specific use cases to help you figure out whether or not a statistically significant sample size makes a difference. For employees and human resources surveys, all HR surveys provide important feedback on how employees feel about the work environment or your company. Having a statistically significant sample size can give you a more holistic view on employees in general. However, even if a sample size isn't statistically significant, it's important to send the survey anyway. HR-related surveys can give you important feedback on how you should improve your workplace. And like we said earlier, customer satisfaction surveys don't necessarily have to rely on having a statistically significant sample size. While it is important that your responses are accurate and represent how customers feel, you really should be taking a closer look on each answer in a customer satisfaction survey. Any feedback, positive or negative, it's important. For market research, when conducting a market research survey, having a statistically important sample size can make a big difference. Market research surveys help you discover more information about your customers and your target market. That means a statistically significant sample size can easily help you discover insights on your overall target market. It also assures you that you are getting the most accurate information. And for education surveys, we recommend getting a statistically significant sample size that represents the population. If you are planning on making changes in your school based on feedback from students about the institutions, instructors, teachers, etc., a statistically significant sample size will help you get the results to lead your school to success. If you are planning on just receiving feedback from students for the sake of seeing what they think and not necessarily making a change in the system, then a statistical significant sample size might not be as important. And in healthcare, when conducting healthcare surveys, a statistically significant sample size can help you find out what health issues are greater concern for your patients. It can also help you come to conclusions in medical research. However, if you are using healthcare surveys for patient satisfaction reasons or questioning patients about their regular care, a statistically significant sample size might not be as important. Without it, you are still able to get valuable information from individual patients about their needs and experience. And last and not least, for casual surveys, on a day-to-day basis, you might want to send surveys to friends, colleagues, family, etc. In this case, it really depends on what you are looking for from your survey. If you like your result to be used as evidence, a statistically significant sample size is important. If not, you are just using the survey like SurveyMonkey for fun, sending your survey to just a few people won't hurt. Alright guys, that's it for this video. We will catch you in the next one. Stay well. Bye-bye.